The next group of questions on the retake review, so 6 through 9, have to do with end behavior. And so the end behavior questions on the Unit 2 review were questions 5 and 6. And then this comes from lesson 2. Example 1 followed this structure. The big table at the top talks about the arrows. And so you'll just have to draw arrows for this one. It won't be matching the way that the test was. And so what you should keep in mind is that we're looking for the highest power to find the end behavior. So if I'm looking at question 5, the term with the highest power is the first term. Same thing with question 4. And so I'm looking at 2 things here for each of these. I'm looking at the degree and the leading coefficient. And so ultimately, I'm looking at whether this is positive or negative and whether the degree is odd or even. So it doesn't even really matter what the number is, just whether it's odd or even. So if I have a 5 as my degree, 5 is an odd number, and I have a negative in front of my term, so that means my leading coefficient is negative. And so remember that ultimately the arrows are that when it's an odd degree, what's happening on the left and right are opposites. And what happens on the right follows the leading coefficient. So for this case, the right side's going down and the left side's going up. Another way that you can kind of remember that is think about a slope of a line. If the slope of a line was negative, it would be going that way. And then if we had the positive version, these would switch. So it would be down on the left, up on the right. Again, think about a positive slope line. When we're doing the next problem, if we think about the same things, so if we look at our odd versus even and positive versus negative, 4 is an even number and there's no negative in front, so that means that it's positive. And so what happens with even and positive is that on the left and right, they're actually both doing the same thing. And so if you think about like a parabola, that would mean that the parabola was positive. And so it's going up on the left and up on the right. If you had a negative one, it would change so that it went down on both sides. So those 4 combinations are all that you would have. So again, for a odd, think about a line and the way that the arrows would point if it had a positive slope versus a negative slope. And for an even, just think about a parabola. So if A is positive, it goes up. If A is negative, it goes down. And that's the same for any even degree polynomial.